Hello.
Oh, hello, Ben. How you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I think I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. What are we doing?
This is Doctor Who talk video about the latest episode, 73 yards.
Yes. What did you make of it? Opening remarks.
That's my opening remark.
Really?
Yeah, you know what? There were points where I thought maybe this is going to be good. Maybe I'm going to have liked this episode, and
Well,
then about two-thirds of the way through, I was thinking, okay, maybe there's something here. And when it ended, I was just nah. Why did you
well,
like it?
I yes. This was my favourite one yet. I even prefer this to the Christmas special. I agree there are some issues with it. I think it needs tightening a lot, and some of it's a bit bewildering. But tonally, this was right up my fucking street. For the most part, as I say, it needs cleaning up a bit. But I did really like it. Um,
Well, I'm pleased one of us did.
shall we go over some reasons? What did you write? I mean,
Oh, I wrote a lot down.
okay. Well, we said in the last one. Well, I said in the last one. I was sort of hoping for a folk horror type thing. Now,
Yep, yeah, you were.
we didn't get that, but I'm glad it was touched on, and I thought they dealt with it really well. I liked the fact that she went into the pub and they all took the piss. That
Yeah, I
was
mean,
funny to me.
just before she opened the door, literally while she was opening the door, I was in the process of writing, "Are they fucking with her?"
Yes, I was about 45 to 60% sure they were, but I
Yeah.
also thought,
Well, there
this
was a part of me who
this
thought maybe it was the Doctor, and we'd been led to believe it was the Doctor Light, but
yeah.
actually it wasn't.
But
But
yeah,
I was thinking that they were fucking with her
I'm glad
as
they
well.
they went that route,
Yeah.
because that's sort of the thing you do with. It's like the obvious thing you do with Wales, I guess. Like sort of countryside, it's a magical land, full of mysterious and sometimes sinister things. And this went, no, shut up, you silly English girl. We're not fucking witches. Um,
Plus, you do take the piss out of tourists, don't you?
yes, you do, and yeah,
It's a
I
fair thing
liked
to
how
do.
they were all united in it. Didn't much care for the guy's acting, the goth kid. It wasn't
No,
even an acting thing. It was just the writing was weird.
yeah, I did like the that Josh bloke though. When I went to go talk to the old woman,
Yeah,
I quite liked him, and something about his portrayal. I thought I wrote down that I liked him in particular. So
was just sort of
yeah,
a doughy
yeah, just
40-year-old man.
yeah, he seemed all right.
Okay.
Well,
Oh,
it's his manner,
noted.
his whole,
Well,
the way he's. I'll send him in for a pint and a pie or whatever it was. Just it's
yeah,
just it seems a nice bloke, doesn't he?
yes, it was yeah, limited use of Sean Phillips though, which was a little disappointing. Um,
Sean Phillips, who was
she was the old
she
lady
playing?
at the bar.
Okay, so I recognised her.
Hmm.
Was she? I'd see. I wrote down, was that Joe?
No.
Okay, because she reminded me of a woman who played Joe something or other in I think. Well, I saw her in Sarah Jane Adventures.
I don't know. Um,
Okay, well, I tell you what, you talk while I have a look at it.
yeah, okay. Well, I mean, you may know her from I, Claudius, where she played Livia, and she was
I've
in a
not seen
great
it.
episode of Midsummer Murders called Vixen's Run, and she was married to Peter O'Toole.
I have
Um,
mixed her up with Katie Manning.
was Katie Manning in Dynasty?
I don't know if I can know.
Okay. Yes, but I think even that, on reflection, thinking now, kind of works because it's sort of playing into the trope of the old woman who knows a great deal about the myths and legends of the area, and that was sort of the direction the trailer seemed to suggest it was going with her. But again, a good subversion, I thought.
Hmm.
Um, I yeah, I like. I kept worrying they were going to bring the Doctor back before the end. I think it worked well without her. Oh, that's Katie Manning. Yeah, she was a
See,
yeah Joe. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I mixed those
Sorry.
two up, and I think that's a reasonable thing to have done,
I,
given
I mean,
what
Sean
Doctor Who has
Phillips
done.
is in her 90s, and that lady I think is in her 60s or 70s.
Okay, but some people makeup exists, and some
Yes,
people do not age overly well.
Yes, that is true. Although Sean Phillips has, we mean no disrespect.
No, no, of course, absolutely not.
Um,
Just,
yes,
it's a thing.
I, I did like it a lot. I do think it needs tightening up though. I think one of the things I really liked, I liked the tone. I kept thinking the bit with Kate, because I don't really
Mm.
know a great deal about her because I haven't really seen many episodes with her in. I know she's the daughter of Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. She's in charge of unit.
Yeah,
Um,
she's a
I
fan favorite.
yes,
A lot of people like
when I saw that scene, well, firstly, before I saw that scene, I was like, oh, okay. You know what might have been handy if the Doctor had mentioned the unit before, like early on, because
Yeah, I mean, how did Ruby find out about Unit? Because she
well, she
wasn't around
didn't.
in the. No,
She
but like she must have. But she must have done. She
no,
got in touch with Em, didn't she?
no. Kate just showed up.
Well, no, she didn't Kate say, "I wish you'd got in touch with us sooner."
I don't know.
I
My
I, I got the
assumption
impression
was
they
that
had a.
Kate just sort of figured it out, or found out about the situation. I don't know.
I was under the impression they had arranged to meet there.
I don't know.
Okay.
I
I
don't know.
well, it wasn't explained very well, was it?
Well, no, but
If we're not 100% sure either way, it wasn't
my
well
my
explained.
assumption, and I think the more sensible, not necessarily saying this is actually what happened, but the more sensible, um, way of doing that is that Kate, after a year, she, whatever through whatever machination, she finds out about the situation and just tracks Ruby down, just shows up and explain. But she had to explain that she was from Unit, so you know, Ruby didn't know about Unit.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
But anyway,
The whole
yeah,
thing seems a bit. It seemed a little off. The writing in that particular section,
I thought
the,
it was
the, the
good.
introduction of the introduction of the two, I think, needed more explanation.
No, I liked it. I liked it. It made sense to me watching it, and I just think it would have been helpful
Well, it
if.
made sense to me watching it, but the trouble is, we've both made sense of it in two completely opposite ways.
It,
So
well, I
you
think.
know,
Well, I yeah, I. I mean, the amount of times the Doctor is. I'm gonna touch back to that, but I want to finish my original point. The amount of times the Doctor has been incapacitated, it might make sense to mention Unit and Hell, David Tennant and Catherine Tate sitting in Chipping Norton or wherever the fuck they are. That
Chiswick.
whatever. That would have been a good game plan. She could have popped over and seen them, but yeah, they didn't. Why didn't you like that scene?
No, no, no. I thought the scene itself was fine whilst I was watching it, but now the fact that we've interpreted it completely differently makes me think that it wasn't as well written as I believed. It was.
Okay,
I felt perfectly fine whilst I was watching it. In retrospect, I think it could have probably done with some work.
I don't know. It's very clear to me, and I think I'm right, to be honest.
Well, it's very clear to me, and I think I'm right. So
Okay, let's agree to disagree. But the reason I bring
well, we're
up
gonna have to.
that scene is because it felt like an SCP movie. I
Oh,
really
okay.
liked that. Like there's there's something of the SCP about this situation. I and I did really like that. I really liked the tone, and I liked the time jumps. Um, I It sort of bothered me in a sense that she just buggered off and left the doctor, but I suppose I haven't been.
Well, I mean, she
It
called into him to explain the situation.
Yeah, and it does it sets her apart from the other. Because Martha wouldn't have gone, and Rose probably would have been dragged away, and Donna probably would have visited a lot. It's a good
Did
distinction, I think.
did Martha ever get a key?
She must have. She probably got it
Well,
very late.
I don't remember her getting a key, but I remember Rose getting a key. I remember Ruby getting a key. I don't remember Martha ever getting a key. So
I,
it should have been like just banging on the door for however long.
I don't know. I don't know. She had a key around her neck in that episode where in Sound of Drums or whatever.
Yeah, but
But
he gave her. He
yeah,
put
I
it
think that
around her
was
then, didn't he?
specially made for that occasion. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Okay. Um.
Okay.
Yeah. It's sort of. I what. Do you raise a point?
I can if you want.
Yes, please.
There wasn't a title sequence,
No, there wasn't.
and
Um.
that's two times this series now that they've done something weird with the title sequence.
I don't know why they did it. I suppose because it was
No, I don't.
Doctor Light. that was their way of sort of adding to that point, adding to that theme, was
Well, it's
my
fucked up
guess.
the theming of our pictures. Our bloody thumbnails are going to be fucked
Oh,
now.
it's fine.
Well, I know. That's not my. That's not why I wrote it down. It seemed odd to me. And like I say, I've done it twice now. You know, if I had $1 for every time, I'd have $2, which
Yeah,
isn't a lot.
but I think it did. I think it added. I think it added something to the episode. You may disagree, but again, on reflection, I think it was an interesting choice to sort of remove that Doctor Who element from the scenario, because it was more like there were elements of horror and, and yeah, I liked it a lot, but I do have problems with it. I also Susan Twist thing has been advanced ever so slightly.
Yes, I wrote down that she'd recognised her,
She recognised it.
which yeah,
Um,
but sort of didn't at the same time. She thought she'd made a mistake.
well,
So
it seemed to me like she recognised her as, well, presumably the robot nurse person who she may have visited some 8 or 9 adventures ago or whatever, and then said, no, that's stupid. I must be misremembering because it can't be, obviously. Um, but it was no, okay. It's an escalation. There is an
mm,
acknowledgement there that it is that we are supposed to be paying attention to this, and we got our Mrs. Flood
yes, I
scene.
wrote down that as well.
Did
She was in it.
nothing much. Um,
No, in fact, she washed her hands of the entire situation.
yes, just nice to see Anita Dobson still still popping up, getting work.
Well, I mean, the fact that they introduced her again is that going to be relevant?
Well,
Because they didn't need to, did they? We didn't see what's his
my
name.
my assumption was that and I think this is the case, that it was just a reminder that she exists. It's like, don't forget about this character,
Well, but
audience.
that has to pay off at some point.
It will, but
Yeah,
I
okay, but that's the point I'm making. Is you know,
yeah, but
okay.
I think in this episode the only purpose was to just say she's still a thing. Don't forget about her. Let's just have a short scene where we remind the audience that she exists, and then we'll move on. And yeah, um, yeah. Um, I think where I sort of start to have some problems with the episode, and I like a lot of it, um, is where we get our Welsh fascist guy.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that in principle, but I don't understand the plot. I don't get it.
Well, what I mean that's kind of one of my big issues is that it's all sort of it's a loop for with no real explanation
Yeah,
or reason or rhyme or purpose.
yeah.
What was the purpose of the entire fucking episode?
I
What did it actually do?
I don't know.
Because they walked off in the same direction that they walked off in at the end of the episode,
They
right?
went to
They
that
walked
pub
around.
and were
So
criticised for being racist again, I guess.
so so that point, they're still going to bump into Susan Twist again,
Or they
right?
might. Well, maybe not.
Uh,
If we don't
Oh,
see it, does it
probably.
happen? I don't think so.
Okay, we didn't see them leave the last place
No.
properly, did we? But it must have happened.
Well, yeah. I just remind me where that Mad Jack thing comes into it, because I know it was mentioned, and that's what tips her off.
Uh,
Because it's not his
some people
name, is
called
it?
no, I don't know because he was a jack of all trades. He did all sorts of jobs, so he was a jack of all trades. Mad Jack, someone called him.
Oh
Was I
right,
believe the
okay,
line.
right.
So
No, that.
it's just a ridiculous fucking throwaway line again.
Yeah, and okay, why was that piece of paper there with Mad Jack?
Uh,
Rest in peace, Mad Jack.
oh look, it's another thing that doesn't have any explanation.
Did that start everything off?
Basically, that situation where they stood on the thing, but did it though? Because I mean, the locals are taking the piss. So either it is a thing and they don't know, and they take the piss out of people who think it's a thing, or it isn't a thing, and there's another explanation for it, or that we don't know.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I
I don't
this is
get
my
it.
issue. We shouldn't be walking out of an episode like that with
No,
with no fucking clue. It doesn't work. You have to, if you're having a mystery, which it is, it's a mystery, that
Yeah,
episode, right? If you need some sort of a proper actual solution at the end of it to explain what's happened. Not this is Ruby grows up and ends up fucking stalking herself
yeah.
as like a ghost or whatever, because you must be, right? She's got
I
to be something.
I don't I don't know. She went back purely for the point of getting rid of the fascist guy. I have a number of questions as well about Ruby, old Ruby.
Okay.
Number one, how does she terrify people? Is it just because this is not meant to be? This is the very fact there's two of them is wrong in the space-time continuum that drives people insane or makes them disgusted with her. That's the only guess I can
Does it?
make.
It's not explained.
Also, when I do you want me to? I'll tell you what I thought was going on. The first
Okay,
thing that
go
popped in
on.
my head, I saw the woman and she was doing the things with her hands, and I thought, oh, that's sign language.
Okay. Do you
Which
know what
made
for?
no,
Me neither.
I thought that was going to be explored. I thought, okay, this is sign language, and then the guy popped up on TV, and I had a crazy thought that, okay, is she the sign language lady in the corner? Is that
Okay.
does it somehow tie in like that? Is that where this is coming from? Because I was thinking like somehow that imprints. I don't know, but that's genuinely what I thought for like a solid 7 minutes,
Hmm. Okay.
which
I mean, that's reasonable enough.
makes a sort of sense, doesn't it?
It makes more sense than what we got in
At
a
least it
way,
would have
because at least it's
explained it. At least it would have explained her hand movements. I don't know what. Is it just old lady stuff? Isn't that?
I've never seen an old lady do that outside of that episode. I'm going to be honest with you.
I think, yeah. I mean, that was it. Was sort of creepy and it worked and it was mysterious and it made you think, but there wasn't really a good resolution. It did, I mean, I agree with you. I think it just needs tightening up. I love the way it
I
plays out. I love the tone of it all.
I
Um,
can I can perfectly handle not being able to understand what's going on in the episode as
mm.
long as it's explained at the end.
Yeah, I fully expected. Well, when Unit showed up, I thought, oh, okay, we're going like turn left here with Donna and Rose, where Rose sort of
It's funny you
explains
say that,
everything.
actually,
Hmm.
because I made a point of writing down that, and it's sort of not quite wrong, but not quite right either. Um, I wrote down it's not the Doc that's gone, it's Ruby,
Yeah,
and
that I
I
get what you
mean,
mean.
because we have no reason to believe that the Doctor actually went anywhere because we don't know what the fuck happened with him, right? He was on
Actually,
screen,
that's
he wasn't
right.
on screen.
Do you know
Where the fuck did he go and why?
that's the first time that's genuinely occurred to me since watching. We have what? Why did he disappear?
You know, this is why I have an issue with this episode.
I
I,
you
I
can
have to say, two thirds way in, I was thinking, okay, maybe this could be good. Maybe there could be something to this. But like his entire purpose in that episode, really, actually, was to say, oh, here's a future Welshman who's actually a bit of a wrong un, and
yes.
then that's it. That's
Did
it. His
he
entire purpose in the episode is to say that that guy is a bad guy, and that's it.
was he also a rapist? The Welshman, not the
I think it's
Doctor.
implied. I see. It's really it bothered me because I saw that coming. The minute he asked about the woman, I was like, oh, he's a bad guy. He's like a bad guy in bad guy way.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe he
I
just doesn't respect sexual limits.
That's called a rapist, Jordan.
No, okay, yeah, fine, yes, but
You can
like
dress it up
it's
however you
different, isn't
like.
it?
No, it's not.
It's a different tone of bad
No,
guy when it comes to sex.
it's not.
You know what I mean?
I
I suppose you don't know what I mean because your vanilla is fucking yogurt.
okay. What is yogurt vanilla? Not always.
Some point is it's bland as a rule. Plain yogurt is bland. Yeah, and that's you. That's
Mm.
your idea of sex.
Yeah.
Some of us like a bit of flavour in ours.
Okay. Well. All right. You and your cranberries.
Keep those cranberries out of us. Anyway, point
Um.
is, he's a bad guy. But politically, the only thing we really learn about him is that he wants to spend a lot more money than people think is available.
He has a massive erection for nuclear weapons that nobody
And
seems to flag up as a red flag.
and that's it. That is everything. Why the fuck?
It
What
reminds.
else are his policies? Maybe why did he get voted in? Because surely, if he got voted in, there must be something else to him that people actually agree. It can't be we want to nuke the world.
Yeah, you do sort of have to explain the situation surrounding him. Like maybe you could have had
At least,
the
at least
economy's
when Saxon
collapsed, the
became,
government's collapsed. You know. Go
at
on.
least when at least when Saxon became prime minister, there was an explanation as to how he got voted in.
Yeah, there was
Right?
some sort of. I mean, you could have tied it in to it, but
Yeah.
they didn't.
The fact that I mentioned the cost of living suggests there is an economy issue. To be fair,
Wonder if it's the same cost of living.
well, it could be. I did make note of the fact that I wrote down the exact word because I couldn't remember his name. The words I wrote were bad Welshman, blue campaign colours.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
just think about that for a moment. But also think about the fact that this has gone out 2 days, is it, after 2 or 3 days after an election has been announced in this country?
Yeah, I saw
Coincidence?
in the lead up to this, somebody mentioned. I don't know whether they'd seen this episode because they mentioned the character by name.
Okay.
But yeah, they mentioned that, and they just said, "Well, Russell T Davis likes his political stuff. He likes his
Mm.
fascist wannabes and things like that." But I don't know. Maybe it was a comment on those people on Question Time of just like, "Why won't you nuke people? I just want to tell me you want to end the world."
Yeah,
Sort.
maybe. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen Question Time. I know you don't like it.
No, I fucking hate it. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I did go, oh, when he popped up because it was like, I remember when they said that. But yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, I still really like the episode, just in terms of tone. I mean, you can get away. The tone goes a long way for me. You know, you can tart up
Evidently.
a story that clearly doesn't have much backbone to it, because I don't understand what happened, but I liked it. I still liked it. You know, I yeah, it's my favorite, and I don't have the foggiest fucking clue what happened.
Yeah, you see, I'm not fond because I don't really have a fucking clue what happened. Like,
Yeah.
I know what happened, I don't know the why
No,
or the how.
I guess there. So I noticed that Kate said that we're increasingly dealing with more supernatural stuff,
Yeah.
and they started carrying like iron and holy, not holy water, like salt, I think.
Salt and
Um,
silver necklaces, I believe she said.
yes. And it reminded me of the fact that the doctor had sort of broken that line, and they mention it in the pub. I mean, they're
They
pissing about, but
they do.
that that's
They
a line between sea and land, and
I made a point of the fact that the cliff tops were like the edge of the universe.
mm, it did.
And that is, that's a comparison they've deliberately drawn there, isn't it? They must have done. It can't have been.
Yes,
It's an intentional thing that they've done.
yeah. I think that's definitely the reason why we're getting sort of supernatural references, even though we don't really know whether this was supernatural, but it must have been. I guess. I guess the circle, tripping the circle, set it off.
I don't know because like he stood in it, right? He's the one who stood on it.
Hmm.
So
I
why is she
wonder.
the one?
I don't. I don't get it either. But I wonder whether the Mad Jack thing was just a complete coincidence. Because it didn't change anything when she got rid of him, did it? She said
No,
she said I had herself following her. So maybe the entire point of that was don't step on it, and she like accidentally stopped fascism. But did she really?
I don't
Is
fucking
that
know.
timeline
But the
stopped
trouble
now?
is, that's the thing. Now, if she because she didn't stand in the thing, she's not going to haunt herself into stopping him.
It's
So
timey
now it's going to
wimey.
happen.
We can assume because we saw it. It won't happen. It I I can't explain it logically, but it's just Doctor Who logic.
But it doesn't make sense.
It's
Normally,
fine.
the Doctor Who logic makes sense, and this doesn't.
Well, I don't understand the fixed point in time thing and never will. That's just something I throw my hands up and go, okay, whatever. Time is like magic, I guess. I don't know.
I think the thing about the fixed point in time thing is that there are certain events that, if they don't happen the way they happened, unravel the fabric of the future.
That's silly.
They are points in time that are so pivotal in history that changing those has such a profound impact in everything that has ever happened, including events that we would have seen in the show.
Okay.
And thus, I think that's the whole point of those. It's like they're so fucking important. It'd be like if, I don't know, I cut your leg off at your point of birth. I went back in time to cut your leg off.
Oh.
Like every interaction with you would in theory have changed. Like the future is so vastly different because of it, right?
Mm.
Your life would be so dramatically changed. Whereas if, I don't know, I go back in time and slap you on the bottom, that's not going to do anything, is it? Really, in the grand scheme of things, there might be a weird story about some bloke turning up out of nowhere and smacking you on the butt, but that's it. That's you know.
My
See what I
father
mean?
would have murdered you.
Well,
Um.
he'd have done you a favour.
And then you wouldn't have
You
been
get my
a.
point, though.
I
You get my point, I think. Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Ah, you don't, but that's fine because you're still my lovable little idiot.
Uh, I just I yeah. Um.
I don't have many more points to make, by the way, so
That's
I have three
okay.
left.
I one of the things I would mention, it may be on your list. Um. Why it was pretty stupid of Ruby's mum or Ruby to let her mum go through that plan. It was pretty
I don't
clear
think
what
she
was.
could at all. I don't think she could have been able to talk her out of it. To be fair,
Yeah, I think that that's sort of when you have like an extra guy about. I don't know. I think that was a bit. But
well,
yeah.
see, I thought that the whole it's happened to is Ruby who's gone. I thought someone was targeting her to isolate her, to put her in a state where she was going to do something was going to happen, something specific was going to happen, but I didn't know what
Yeah,
because
I don't know. I mean, it's sort of I don't know. Star Trek has a lot of episodes where it's like a space-time anomaly thing. They could have done with some of that Star Trek logic in there, just to
I mean
explain.
they explain those, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
And that's I mean Groundhog Day has more explanation.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm checking the Reddit, and people are just saying all he wanted to do was fire a nuke.
Yeah, I saw something about that. And
That's all he wanted to do, and it wasn't even about protecting borders. It was just this could
he
be
might have
fun.
fired it at the moon. It wouldn't be the first time that's happened.
Yeah, maybe we should do that. Maybe we should just designate a spot of ocean. There's that part in the Pacific that's the furthest point away from everything. Let's just all nuke that and get it out of our system.
I have a feeling that would be quite damaging to ecology.
Also, do you remember the name of his party?
Albion,
Yes, which is interesting for a Welshman.
because it means England, doesn't it?
Yes, it's the old English name. I think the Roman name for the country Albion.
Yeah. We actually talked about a street in my town that's got that name
All right.
the other day when we were recording Euro Truck Sim.
Yeah.
Yeah, just weird little fact. So you should go check out that video when it comes out on Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or not, I don't care.
Yeah.
Can we talk about
Oh,
Can we talk
go
about
on.
Unit again? Very, very
Of
briefly.
course,
They had a sniper,
they did.
but not like multiple snipers, which is the done thing when you have a sniper. They had one sniper.
Maybe there were others, but were hidden.
Well, I mean, we didn't see it, so it can't have happened.
Although I do love how the government organisation or the independent organisation that presumably has a layer of secrecy to it just sort of ran out in the street screaming to capture this woman. I mean, I'm guessing they would have like wiped the memories of all the onlookers or something. There's like a cleanup crew that comes in afterwards. I don't know. Maybe study her first. It just
There
seems.
needs to be a cleanup crew for that glass that broke.
Yeah, that poor waitress.
Yeah,
That's a
we
fun
got shouted
day.
at as well.
It's a fun day to be a person in a cafe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah, Unit did not handle that situation well. It's like
Well,
you send in like a scientist or one guy, you get some computer equipment, you get Ruby to bring her to like your sciencey warehouse. I did like the fact that she's always, no matter how close you are to her, she always looks like she's 73 yards away. That
mm,
was interesting. It makes the sense of the whole. What does she look like? She looks how she looks, or something. Is that what my mum said? Um,
yeah.
and how everybody said ask her because it is her. I guess they sort of.
But I mean, I would say that looking at the old woman that Ruby turned into when we saw her aging, I would not have known it was her had we not seen this process.
Yeah, you do
She
need
didn't look sufficiently like her. I've seen pictures of my nan when she was younger, and I can see the similarities between them. Right?
you do need a an explanation. Um,
We didn't get one because all we heard of the whispering was "Don't step." Right?
yeah, maybe Ruby should have figured it out, or
Like, I don't see how "Don't step" is going to drive those people crazy in the way that it did. You know?
I still maintain it's probably a. There's something deeply intrinsically wrong with that situation that people just feel like psychically. Um,
Maybe, but I mean, the unit people had psychic dampeners.
yeah, which sort of
I
suggests.
just it doesn't
Well,
make sense.
somebody on Reddit is suggesting that this is the sort of thing that's going to become clearer later on. But I think that's
In a
sort
few
of,
weeks' time.
yeah, I think that's sort of a cop out because you need an explanation in the episode itself. And again, I liked
Yeah.
the episode. I like a lot of things about the episode. I think if you have one scene, that's all you need. You need one scene where a character sufficiently explains, or I don't know, Ruby figures it out, or maybe Sean Phillips does something. I don't know. But I did like a lot of things about this. I like the tone. I like the the what do you call it? Expectations shattering thing, subversion, subverting expectations. I like that bit. I like the unit popped up.
It was good
Uh,
to see him. Yeah.
yeah, I do just wish I came away from that with a lot of questions, and
I,
if the questions had been answered, it might
yeah.
rank significantly higher. But even so, and I'm not just saying this because I think the other episodes have been weak to varying extents, but this is easily my favourite. Um, it's also incidentally
Well,
the second time in a row the Doctor hasn't looked where he's fucking putting his feet. It's messed everything up.
you just read that comment as well, have you?
Yeah, you are. Yes, I did see that. So, yeah,
I mean, I don't know. It's just I'm not enamored by it. It feels like more of the same crap from this series so far.
mm,
There were two things. There was one particular line in it. Oh, it's not necessarily a line. One idea from it that has stuck with me in particular as
mm,
being indicative of everything Doctor Who,
mm,
and that was the idea that the Doctor is pottering about in his shed,
mm.
and that seemed very apt.
Yes, I quite liked that
I thought it's
because
worth.
in a
I
way
wrote it
he
down to the
is.
point of mentioning it. It
Yeah.
just, but the fact that she's never had a man, so she doesn't really know firsthand. It's just what people say. Also tickled me a bit. But
I,
no, I you know,
I I liked it. I liked it
the,
a lot, and I yeah. I just wish show your fucking work in Russell. Jesus, what happened?
I
I'm too
I
fucking
think
old for this.
I think it's very worth considering the possibility that they had written themselves. They had created an episode that they knew would have this fantastic tone to it. And I agree, the tone is fantastic.
Yeah.
There's this not quite dark, but definitely mysterious tone to it.
Yes, the
You want to know what's going on. You want to find out the situation.
yeah, a country pub in a storm with locals in a country renowned for being a bit you know, rustic and dark and mysterious. You know, that's like fucking great.
We spent about 10 minutes in that pub, by the way.
I know. This episode
It was-
felt a lot long. How long was it? Was this 45 minutes? It felt a lot longer than 45 minutes.
It did feel a lot longer than 45 minutes.
I mean it in a good way. I suspect you don't.
Anyway,
It felt like a film. I loved it.
It was about 45 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, I thought.
I am willing to entertain the idea that they had created this episode that they knew would have this.
Mm.
I mean, they didn't know how to end it. I fear they couldn't work out how to explain the situation they had created themselves, and so they just did something.
That's a
To hell with it.
possibility.
The hell with the vibe.
I fully
You know
appreciate.
how-
Go
You know
on.
how Monty Python and the Holy Grail, they couldn't really end it, so they ended it with a police turning up and arresting everyone.
I guess I don't know. I've never seen it, but yeah,
I wouldn't bother. It's not that great a film in the grand scheme of things.
I
Not compared to Meaning of Life or Life of Brian.
it's rare that people don't think that's the third best Monty Python film. That's I
Yeah,
don't
well,
know much about Monty Python films, but that's an interesting take. People
I
usually rank
really
Life.
like.
Go on.
I really like The Meaning of Life.
People usually rank that right at the bottom.
I really like it. I think it's silly in just the right way.
Hmm.
Whereas Holy Grail's silly, not quite in the right way.
Well,
And Life of Brian's just brilliant, right?
I have not seen Life of Brian. I've not seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I've seen The Meaning of Life. I remember very little. I remember Every Sperm is Sacred and Mr. Creosote, and that's about it.
What about the Galaxy Song?
Oh yeah. Oh, I haven't thought about that in ages.
Yeah, I fucking love the Galaxy Song.
Anyway, if we could get back to the thing we're meant to be talking about instead of other things that you probably think are much better. We're doing that.
It's true, I do. I
Yes,
think I'm much
we're,
better
we're
than
doing
that.
that thing we did last time, but this time I object.
I object.
That's definitely
I like
possible.
Shrek as well. Shrek's
All right, fucking hell. I agree
but
that
not the fourth one. The fourth one's bad.
I agree that's a possibility that
Okay.
that they wrote themselves into a corner and didn't know how to get out of it. I think two other possibilities. One is that this is sort of going to play into Ruby general vibe, like what her deal is, which is going to be weird if I don't necessarily agree with that, because I think that I mean she doesn't remember and the doctor doesn't remember, so that'll be interesting. Unless Susan Twist has something to do with it, I don't know. But the third possibility is that they thought they did explain it,
Yes, that is possible.
and that's the one I'm sort of leaning towards.
I mean, I hope that's not the case, because if that is the case, then they did a fucking appalling job of it.
Is it magic? Is that what it is? Is it because the doctor
Oh,
does say,
I
"Oh,
don't
these are
know.
special things," and maybe some of the Welsh stuff was more accurate? Than... I don't know.
I'm not convinced. So I just realised something. I realised it at the time and I forgot to write it down. But you said that she didn't remember it, but
Yeah.
she sort of did. She
She
did, but she didn't.
she was talking about no. So old Ruby came back before the doctor broke the thing, so everything
Yeah.
was proceeding as normal.
Yep.
And I can't remember whether Ruby was talking about the third or mentioned three times.
She
In
did
the
the first time.
first.
She
Okay,
was
and
talking about it because she mentioned the one I remembered from the first time she was talking about it was having gone to meet up with a guy while she was 16
Broken his
and
heart.
she broke his heart. So she was definitely talking about it. But second time round, I caught that she had gone to see Shy Girl.
what's
before.
that?
Well, Shy Girl is a musician who, as it happened, was performing at the Radio 1 Big Weekend this weekend.
Oh, okay.
Today. And that's why it stuck with me, was because when I went onto iPlayer to start watching the episode about 10 minutes early, she came up as a suggestion of things that I might want to watch.
Huh.
And it seems odd to me that that's two things now that happen to be happening at this time that are relevant to this episode. The election and Shy Girl. Now, the election you can pass off as a coincidence, right? Really?
Well,
Because
no,
there's
I don't.
what,
Well, yeah, all right, it's a coincidence, but he tends. Yeah, it is a coincidence.
but the fact that particular musician was doing a performance today, a live performance for a mass crowd of people, well advertised on the BBC. Look, if I had $1,
Hmm.
I just,
I. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of stuff on Reddit about Mad Jack actually being a person, but I think that was just them taking the piss. I think there may be elements of it which are accurate, which I sort of don't. Well, I don't know whether I really.
well, I mean, if there was going to be a Mad Jack who was an actual person, let's
Mm.
be honest, it's probably going to be Hardman.
It's probably going to be what? Oh
Captain
yeah,
Jack.
sorry.
They'd bring him back, wouldn't they? Because that's what they fucking do.
Yeah.
And they can bring him back at any point, whenever, because they can. That's just how it works. They brought him back for Whitaker.
Apparently, Harriet Jones was retconned into surviving. Okay.
I wouldn't know.
Actually, somebody's made a good point. Why didn't. I mean, I suppose Kate was just honouring the agreement with the 14th Doctor. But he's working with UNIT, isn't he?
I would assume so.
It's sort of. I don't know. That's. They've sort of painted themselves into a corner with that because you can't really have a disaster on Earth in a Doctor Who episode without asking why isn't the other one helping right alongside.
No, but this isn't a disaster, is it?
No, but you'd think he's a companion. Is something timelines? I don't fucking know. I don't know. Don't. That's. I can sort of accept that as an issue because it's always going to be an issue. It's not an issue with the episode. It's just an issue with the show.
Yeah.
You know.
I will say I believe that for Point of Visa, this is what we think, and I know I fell into the trap of having a quick look on Reddit as well.
Hmm.
But I think we should stray away from that, or else there's no point in us actually being here.
Well,
Right?
I looked at it after I made all my points, but I appreciate what you mean. I agree.
Okay, so you haven't got any points left.
No,
I have one left.
go on then.
That nurse gave exactly 0 shits.
Well, I mean, she deals with it all the time.
Well, no, but I mean, she. I can't remember what the thing. I've been abandoned my whole life, and she's
That,
like,
I, I've yet to
something like,
meet a person over the age of 80 who doesn't think that.
I know,
You know.
but I can understand the reaction to I used to make it snow. I used to be able to make it snow. I can understand that reaction because that
Mm.
sounds like she's a senile old woman,
Mm.
right? I get that, but you know,
Yeah. I mean, I suppose the whole
like
voice
just a
command.
line.
Yeah,
Go on.
the voice command light thing as well. I suppose the nearest equivalent is like trying to explain a television to an old lady. Being
Yeah,
like, this is a TV.
or a radio.
Can you say that? Radio? Radio. Yes.
It's a very understanding. I mean, it's typical of underfunded NHS. She ain't got time to do it.
I think it's
Away, right?
2072 or whatever, or no 2082. It's the NHS ain't about.
65 years she was around. So
Well, it was 40 years after 2040, wasn't it?
well, I mean, she said that she'd not been alone for 65 years.
Uh,
So is my thinking of why it's 65 years after 2024, which would make it 2085, 2089. Sorry,
I don't understand the episode.
I don't understand it, and I don't like that I don't understand it, and thus I don't like it.
I don't.
If it ends up being one of these situations where 2-3 episodes down the line, well, I mean, we've got 4 left, haven't we?
Mm,
If 4 episodes from now, I can look back and say, yes, I fucking get it now. It makes perfect sense. I have no more issues with that. I will put my hands up and I will say it. Okay, but as it stands, I think it's a fucking mess.
I would actually be annoyed if they explained it after the fact. I would rather have because you're not. Don't do that. That's not good storytelling. You need to explain it within the story. You can have little mysterious points that you don't explain until later on, but
Like what the creature in Midnight was.
yes, that's fine. Or just stuff
Yeah.
like little mysterious things that aren't there's something on your back. Like, what is that? I mean, I know that's the arc thing, but I'm fine with little things, little mysterious things that won't be explained until, the next episode, not the entire story. You
Mm.
can't do that. I need a satisfying conclusion within the episode itself, and I don't
There
really
wasn't.
get one.
It's a simple set.
I can, much like the fairy circle, I can take the disparate strands of what I assume is the plot and tie them together, and maybe kind of make them make sense in my head. But you needed one scene. Or have Kate explain it. Have Kate be like, "Yeah, we've done some scans. We've got our people working on it. Here's our best theory."
Mm.
And then Unit's out of it, and then it's like Ruby takes that and runs with it, and sort of figures out something close to what's going on. It's an easy fix, is what I'm saying. You just needed to tie everything together.
And they
And
didn't.
yeah, I
But
would.
that's half of the course for this series. It says there's just a silly, easy fix that could have happened for all of
Yeah,
the episodes that we've watched, and it's ridiculous to me that they haven't done it.
if they had explained it, and it had
Yes.
been, even moderately satisfying, I mean, I would have accepted basically any explanation really. If
Mm.
they'd explained it, like, oh, okay, Kate says, oh, some magic was let into the world. We our source, which is the other doctor, has told us this or whatever. We expect it's something to do with that, and it's a timeline disparity or something. Okay, and then Ruby sort of suss it out, and if you left this episode feeling satisfied that you could explain the plot, where would you put it?
I think it would probably be my second. I mean, it's already my second favorite, but that's because of how bad the others have been,
Mm.
right?
You still like the Devil's Cord best?
I do.
That's interesting. That is
Well,
interesting.
I can overlook the misuse of the Beatles.
Mm.
I can't get over the misuse of point and purpose.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
whereas I feel like this was the tone and atmosphere of this episode outdoes what we got from Space Babies and Boom
yeah.
for me.
I yeah, I am really big on tone, but I mean, subjectively, I loved it. Objectively, not explaining what was going on, that's sort of a big, that's sort of a big problem.
Yeah.
If I leave the episode not having this faintest fucking clue what's going on, and we've done a few of these, and I often have questions about plot points, but I've never had a question about the plot
Well,
in
normally
its
between us
entirety.
we can work it out, can't we?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we had issues with the Devil's Call, but we could,
We could fathom it out
there's
between
always, I
us.
think there's always been a fair bit of hand waving from a good chunk of Doctor Who, but
At this point, they were waving their hand, and she kept doing it for 65 fucking years.
yeah, I still don't understand those hand movements. I wish it had been the sign lady in the corner of the TV.
Oh,
I thought I was so smart when I figured that out. I was like, oh my god, that's brilliant. That makes perfect sense. It's some sort of imprint
I'm gonna level.
thing.
I thought that was Susan Twist's character this episode, right up until we then bumped into her. Like
Yes,
for
I
about,
did
two,
too.
3 minutes, I thought that's Susan Twist,
That
and we won't know it's Susan Twist because we're not going to see her, but that's going to be Susan Twist.
I just assumed it was,
Yeah, and then we saw her, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe not.
which I think was deliberate.
Yeah,
Because they have to know by this point we'd have figured it out because they know what fans are like.
yeah.
And we'll have seen her pop up in the credits, and it's that was a good use of your Susan Twist, a good use of your thing, your recurring plot arc.
There is one thing that I've just remembered is that they referred the people in the pub, and again, I know they were taking a piss,
Uh,
right? But the thing about taking a piss is sometimes there's an element of truth. It's easier to sell telling the piss, taking the
well,
piss
they
if there's an element of truth to it, right? They mentioned the spiteful one.
that could just be yeah. I mean, that could, as you say, that could just be shit they're throwing out because it
It
sounds
could
sort of
just be shit they're
mysterious.
throwing out. Yeah, absolutely. But that is very much the sort of thing that we would expect title wise
It
of
sounded like a
Pantheon.
Doctor Who pantheon villain. Yes.
Yes, and that's probably deliberate.
Yeah. I doubt.
But
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm glad they were taking the piss and that didn't become the episode. I think it worked better if it was just like a subversion, as I say, of that trope. The pub full of
Did you
weird locals who know stuff.
did you catch the name of the pub?
Stay off the moors. I don't know.
No,
Uh,
I couldn't make it out. I
it
was
was
looking.
it was in funny writing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I saw something about them having
Welsh.
great or the best sales or whatever, but I couldn't. Like you'd expect that to be the name of a pub there, and I couldn't see it.
Let's let's look into this.
Okay,
So
it's
73
probably not
yards.
relevant.
I'm sure it is. 73 yards. Pub name. Why Pren Mar? It translates to the dead wood. Pub was first opened in the year 1863. This is a reference to the birth year of real-life Welsh-born Prime Minister David Lloyd George.
Hmm.
Hmm. So,
Um,
yeah.
the Independent's given this 5 stars.
I I can't give it 5 stars. I can't. I just can't because I don't know what the fuck happens, which is kind of an issue, isn't it?
It is. It really is. It's the
Um,
biggest kind of issue you could possibly have.
yeah.
IMDb again was trying to find this pub name. IMDb reckon that the Doctor's absence from 73 yards is explained by magic. He accidentally steps on and breaks a fairy circle. But again, that's not really properly explained, is it?
It's
It doesn't
not.
explain what happened to Ruby and why if he broke the circle. It
No,
explains his disappearance. It doesn't explain her shenanigans.
no, it
As,
doesn't.
I'm, I'm,
You
I'm,
ju-
I'm
you
talking myself out of liking it as much as I did.
you need one scene. That's all you need. You need one scene that ties all of this together. You can get this thing wrapped up. Put it as I say. Make Kate say some stuff, and then Ruby figures it out, and then that's her doing something, and the companion being proactive, and we get a glimpse of the companion sorting stuff out on her own, and that's great. But
Because really, all she did is have a string of failed relationships, help a woman get raped, and scare off a grown man.
she
That's it.
stopped.
That's that.
Yeah, all he wanted to do was fire a nuke. I just
Because
think,
no,
just
the
think it'd
thing
be
is,
really cool, man.
the,
It
when the
was.
doctor mentioned it, when the doctor mentioned his prime minister,
Hmm,
he said he was the one who brought us closest to nuclear war.
yeah.
Right, so he didn't even do it in before Ruby did the stuff.
I wonder what the canon explanation is for why he didn't. I don't know. Maybe somebody went, "How about let's not."
It's like,
This is
oh,
what happens when you let some Call of Duty twat go into politics. This is what the future is going to be like. It's going to be like hundreds of kids who were saying mean things about your mum.
they will have been watching it's far back in time now, but they would have watched the Osama bin Laden assassination, and they were like, "Oh, kill streak, UAV unlocked,"
Yes,
you know,
yes,
and because they were watching it, weren't they? They watched that.
yeah.
That was
Bloody
on
bloody kids.
GoPros. No, not the
Um,
kids, but like Obama and that lot.
yeah, bloody Obama.
Thanks, Obama.
Yeah. Um, I did.
I've said everything I need to say.
Well, I did like how fascist Welshman was defeated. It's just a shame
Well,
it
he was
didn't
scared
tie
off.
into anything.
No, it didn't.
It wasn't explained. It was accidental.
They absolutely would have shot her. Just to be clear, they gave her far too many chances. If
They
she
did.
wasn't a white woman,
She wasn't a
they would
pretty
have.
blonde 40-year-old. Yeah,
I mean, she aged well, didn't she?
yeah. Till she didn't. Um,
Yeah.
God, 50 hit her like a fucking freight train.
Yeah. Maybe she got hit by something. Maybe, you know.
I I don't get it, but I like it. It's like that. There's a bit where I think it's in the Family Guy take on the Shawshank Redemption,
Hmm.
or maybe it's in the actual Shawshank Redemption. It's like I don't know what that lady's singing, but I like the way she's singing it, and that basically sums up this episode for me. And I suspect a lot of other people, but I have the self-awareness to realise it.
The original I think, has that because it is a
Yeah.
piece of classical music,
Yeah.
whereas the Family Guy version has, I believe, Hollaback
I
Girl.
was going to say it was Hollaback Girl, yeah. Okay.
Um,
I misremembered.
so I think you're thinking of the original rather
Yes.
than the remake in this
Yeah.
particular circumstance.
But yeah, so final thoughts. Love the tone. Uh, I genuinely didn't know where the episode was going. It felt a lot longer than 45 minutes in the best possible way. I like the fact that the Doctor's not in it. I like the fact they removed the title sequence. I think that adds to it. Um, I like that Unit popped up. I don't know what happened and why, and it's a very easy thing to fix, and I'm very confused as to why they didn't. And it was nice to see Mrs. Flood and some advancement on the Susan Twist thing. Your go.
I am disappointed, much as I have been for the entire series thus far. That is all.
That's really.
Yeah, I was
Are
disappointed.
you not slightly less disappointed? I mean, it may not make sense, but it looked good. There's a lot of good stuff in it. It was
There wasn't enough good stuff to make me not disappointed.
it may have been it may not have made any sense, but it was executed well.
Was it though? If it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, that's a problem with the story rather than the presentation.
No, but when it's a TV show, the presentation is how you tell the story, and thus it
Yeah,
is a part of the story.
that's true, I
If,
suppose.
if I if I were to read you the beloved children's book, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, but I were to read it to you in German, you'd have an issue with that, even though it's the same fucking story.
But I know the story off by heart.
Okay, but you wouldn't necessarily know the German interpretation of the story
Oh,
and
but
the ins and outs of the way, or even potentially where we're up to in the story.
she gets her face ripped off. I could pick up on it. It's a children's book. It's very simple.
You get my point.
Yeah,
Presentation is so important when it comes to it. It tells more really than the script.
but do you not think it's a big step up from what we've seen before?
Well, no, I've placed it as my second place episode, so no.
That's interesting to me. I guess yeah, I guess tone just goes further for me than it does for you. But
Yeah,
yeah,
evidently.
it was so fucking close, man. It was so close to being honestly maybe perfect if the explanation was right, you know. Um, but I'm so happy I liked it. I'm so
I
happy.
wanted to. I really wanted
I'm
to.
sort of I watched it and I thought, oh, I'm with this. I am totally fucking with this. Like right early on, I was right along with the ride, but I had no idea what happened. So yes, it's my favorite episode so far. So we will see. The next episode is Poppity Ping or whatever the fuck it's called. Was it
I don't know.
Binky Bonks? It's something like that, isn't it?
I've not looked. I know I've seen it, but I can't remember.
Doctor Who. Which season is this?
I don't
I
fucking
think
know.
it's 15. It's 14. I think.
He's the 15th Doctor.
No, the 14th one was in 1976. Ah, this is technically series 40th, the 40th and the 15th. So
Bear with, I'll find the bloody thing.
I've got it. I've got it. I've got it.
It's going to be called Dot and Bubble.
Dot and Bubble, and it looks like we're getting a. It's like an influencer future thing with
Hold on.
monsters,
Oh yeah. That's sort of.
cockroaches. I like. There was a bit in that made me think of Midnight, where somebody said they're coming for me, and it was said in exactly the same inflection, which was interesting.
It's going to be a social, not a social, a look at the impact of social media on people's lives as well as social credit.
Mm,
The Chinese thing that they have there, or whether they actually have it there, or whether it's some sort of propaganda we've experienced. I don't know. The social credit is a thing I've heard of that's
mm.
happened in China. It's going to be in some way connected to that. Guarantee it.
Possibly, it looked a
That's
bit.
my bet. That's my bet now.
It looked a bit Black Mirror-y.
Have you ever seen The Circle? It's a TV show.
I am aware of it.
I'm getting that sort of vibe from it, but with a sci-fi twinge instead of anything else.
I'm gonna say now, I don't think I'm gonna like it.
I, as ever, remain mildly hopeful that maybe this one will be the one that changes my stance, but I'm not overly optimistic.
I think the reason I'm not going to like it is because I don't trust Russell T Davies to be able to write influencer dialogue that doesn't sound like a 50-year-old man writing influencer dialogue.
Well, there is that.
But
He writes old black women well, doesn't he?
yeah, she's still our fave. I still love her.
Yeah, Cherry's all right.
Did she maybe not say something about, Ruby being locked out the house and the locks being changed? Did she not have something to say about that? Maybe she was smothered. I don't know.
Stop asking for that cup of tea, you witch.
Maybe she went with it. Maybe she didn't give two shits. I don't know. Maybe she was converted. Could she not
Maybe,
use a phone? At that point,
maybe she had been told something that gave her reason to not want Ruby around, true or otherwise. Again, because
that's true. That's true.
we don't know what was said to the people that ran off and suddenly turned against her. We don't know, therefore,
I don't
what
know.
the deal is with, you know,
I don't know.
it's more questions.
I love this I do. I love lots of things about this episode, but I hate to say it. I'm going to say it anyway. I think it's all style and no substance, which I don't think is
We're waff-
I don't think that's entirely true, but I wouldn't blame anybody for saying that.
Hmm.
So
I feel we're waffling on and going over the same points.
yeah, I think I have a hard time calling it because I could just sit here and talk all day. But yeah,
I know it.
we'll see you next time for Dot and Bubble.
And hopefully it will be better.
It might. I hope. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe it will be the best thing ever. I will go into it with an open mind, but I'm doubtful. We'll see. Bye.
Bye.